right. Welcome, Solar Warriors, to today's Solar Consultant Network Monday Forum. It is August 1st. So you might be asking yourself, what is the Solar Consultant Network? Well, the Solar Consultant Network is a place for us to collaborate, unite together, and share ideas, because we are up against the utility companies. So it's more than important than ever that we unite together, collaborate, and share what's working and then what's not. And so that we can help evolve the solar industry. So each Monday we'll be meeting and featuring different guest speakers that can share some amazing insights with all of you to help grow your solar business. So today's featured guest, I'm just so thrilled to announce, I first met Michael down in the Florida Keys and got to listen to him speak. And I just knew, I was like, dang, I got a lot to learn from this gentleman right here. So now he's gone on to sell, 12 megawatts and written an amazing book, No Matter What. So when we were all making a list of who we wanted as a guest speaker, Michael O Donnell was definitely the top of the list. So Michael, we're so honored to have you here. The floor is yours.
Awesome. And shout out to Lisa, who's holding up my book, No Matter What. So she's obviously acquired that. I look forward to meeting you. Have I met you in person? Gotten to sign that yet? If not, we'll meet soon, and I'll look forward to signing that for you. No matter what, even if your ass falls off, is the asterisk I had to fight for, right? And has a little double money signal sign there, even if your ass falls off. The book is about, and the subtitle is the recipe to a 7-figure income in sales. And I've been in sales for way over 30 years. I think I started when I was 12. That doesn't mean I'm only 42. I'm not. So I've been selling a lot longer than 30 years. And I've had lots of different kinds of results, but I've been in the solar space since 2015. And as Melissa was just alluding to, since that time, I've sold over 12 million watts of solar personally. That's 12 megawatts. That's well over 1,200 unique, distinct systems that I've helped families go solar. So I'm also a partner and vice president of sales in my own solar company, which is called Sun Solar Solutions. That's about a 20 megawatt solar sales and installation company in Phoenix, Arizona. So I got a really well-rounded background and a busy guy. So I'm selling that much solar. I'm also a part of running that company and running sales and doing all those things. But in the meantime, I've published the book, No Matter What, the recipe to a 7-figure income in sales. I also have a training academy, which is called MOD Sales Academy. And in that, it's actually my training. What I put all of my folks is I onboard them. Last year, we had 6 Golden Door Award winners on the stage at my particular company did. That was over 25% of the people in the entire industry that had achieved that level of sales. And that's so we've mechanized this training and made it so someone can start out. And I've done some speaking at some roofing conferences here, SolarCon and the Great American Roofing Conference in Florida. I had the pleasure of having a roofer come up to me and say, Michael O'Donnell, I did not know D. Fill in the D. I did not know D about solar. I didn't know how to spell kilowatt. I didn't know how to spell kilowatt hour. I didn't know what none of that stuff was. And I've been on your training and I've sold 25 solar systems in the last 5 weeks. And that's just by saying what you say, doing what you say, reading what was in the book, and then taking the companion training, which is MOD Sales Academy. The book is for you scholars. I'm a book guy, super excited to have the book, but the training academy, MOD Sales Academy, is an actual Netflix version. It's literally every single thing somebody, whether you're new, whether you're a rookie, or whether you're an award-winning veteran, the exact word tracks, ideas, primarily ideas. These are gigantic ideas that separate somebody who's struggling in the solar world and someone who's posting massive amounts of kilowatts. A lot of that has to do with the ideas that you're bringing to the door, the ideas that you're bringing to the kitchen table, and most importantly, the ideas that you're bringing to the close. And so, what I'm known for in selling those 1,200 solar systems is that like literally 99% of those were closed in one visit. So I'm all about that. This meeting is occurring, and this meeting is not the meeting about the meeting. This is the actual meeting. At the end of this meeting, we're going to reach a fork, and you're going to make a decision, and that decision can be anything you want. You make your own decisions, but that decision is going to lead to a fork. And you're either going to become a project and a job, and there's a schedule and people working for you and permits being pulled and HOA packages put together and all of the things you can imagine that would ensue once you hire and engage a contractor. At the end of this meeting, you're going to engage a contractor. By the way, that doesn't mean we're married yet. And I don't believe in a soft close and selling a site survey. That's not the way to sell solar. But just because somebody engages a contractor, that doesn't mean that all bets are down and can't be taken off the table. You're not married to a contractor the moment you sign. It takes several days. And in my situation, I usually give people a few extra days before we're married. But the things that we need to do, we're going to make a decision about it. If this is making sense, we're going to move forward with the paperwork to get this process started, and you will have engaged a contractor. If that doesn't work and you're not ready, that's okay too. I got plenty of people who are paid to follow up and be there. And when you're ready, we'll be ready. But you're going back into the goldfish pond to become a lead, right? And so those are the two things. One of those two is going to happen at the end of this meeting. And one thing is going to be really, really clear to the customer. It is overwhelmingly to their advantage to become one of those people that has engaged the contractor. The benefits to doing that are massive. They're epic. And the peril that comes along with being tossed back into the lead bin so that salespeople can follow up for however long that takes. That will lead to circumstances and consequences that will have them at peril. And I'm going to make that super, super clear to them. They're going to understand it, and they're going to be able to. My idea of salesmanship in the solar space is to be able to transfer confidence and conviction at the moment of truth so that someone can get over that confidence problem that they have that's leading them to think that procrastination is really the way to go about it. First of all, I just want to say how happy I am to be here. I'm a member of the group, excited to see this group grow, how much I really have just tremendous affection and a debt of gratitude to Melissa. I had met her at Bill Murphy's Solar Cheat Code. He'd asked me to speak. He saw me at door to door getting two. By the way, I win these awards 2 at a time. Those are double Golden Door awards. So I've won not 1, but 2 Golden Door awards every single year, 2017, 18, 19, 20, this last year, 2021. And then in this year, I'm out selling solar every day. I'm not speaking to you. I didn't write this book. I didn't put that training together in MOD Sales Academy, speaking from some distant place of back in the day when I used to sell. I'm out selling solar every single day. I'm knocking on doors every single solitary day. It's easy to get a Golden Door Award. If you're if you're knocking on doors literally about 2 hours a day, you should be getting about 2 appointments a day. You should be then closing at least a 35% ratio. The industry average is 18%. Closers on my team close well over 60%. My partner, Troy, and I close well over 80%. He and I will close 10 in a row without batting an eyelash. Why? We know how to do it. Solar basically sells itself. It does not close itself. We could get that customer just as fired up about solar by sending them a YouTube video of me talking or you talking, or someone who's good at making this case. What we can't do is help that customer up and over their hesitation to pull the trigger. We can't help them understand that procrastination is working against them, not for them. And that's what our job is. And it requires a set of tools. It requires an expertise in utilizing those tools. Mostly what it requires is a mindset, an idea, and an understanding that this meeting that you were able to sell on the doorstep into happening, or cause to happen through marketing and variety of ways that we secure appointments, that this meeting is not the meeting about the meeting. There's not going to be another meeting. So in the MOD Sales Academy, the training course on closing is called I'm Not Coming Back. That's a crucial idea, that I am not coming back. And guys, I'm not coming back. I'm going to begin this meeting that we're having at the customer's conference table or over Zoom at hopefully at their kitchen table. Kitchen tables are where people make their decisions for their family. So if I'm in their home, I'm trying to get to the kitchen table. They want me to sit in this weird living room thing with something balanced on my knee. I'm going to say, is there some place we can sit down? Is the kitchen table available? I want to be invited to the kitchen table, the place where families make decisions. And I'm going to be presenting them with a lot of information. I'm going to be answering their questions. But at the end of this, I will be having them make a decision. They have no choice but to make a decision. The way that I'm going to set this up and frame this, they're going to be making a decision. And at that fork of the road, they're going to be engaging a contractor, and there's going to be very specific, very distinct, epic advantages to having engaged that contractor today. Or boom, back in the goldfish bowl, and Mr. Customer, I will not be able to come back. Let me tell you what my job is. My job is to have 3 or 4 of these meetings every single day. My company has me in these because I'm an expert at solar. I'm a consultant about solar. I've been doing this presentation and consultation for X amount of times, this amount of years. Mike, I'm in a position in my company where I'm highly valued, and I'm the one that goes into a majority or many of the appointments where we meet with customers the first time, do the assessment. Is this right for the customer? Do we have the right design? Do they understand how this is going to work? Do they understand how the tax credits are going to work? Do they understand the metering system and how that's going to work? Have I answered all their questions? Most importantly, have I overcome all their objections? Are they wrapped around the axle thinking they're going to move someday? Guess what, guys? They're going to move someday. Let's just get that out there now. You're moving. They're coming for you either in a U-Haul or a hearse. But there will come a day when you and all of your crap are not in this house anymore. Somebody else is going to live in that house. Let me explain to you how that works and how that's going to happen every single time, and why you're going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of $1,000s more well off when that occurs. And it doesn't matter if you move in, a year, or if you move in 10 years or 25 years, you're going to be massively better off. So is the person buying your home. As a matter of fact, and this is the number one objection, people are afraid they're not going to live in their home, for 25 years. Guess what? They're not. They're right. What they're wrong about is the consequences of going solar. They've talked to some crazy realtor who doesn't like to do the solar paperwork, who doesn't want to field the questions. He's got 27 friends in his whole circle, and he's a realtor because when those 27 people move, he wants to be able to sell their house and help them buy the next one. And the last thing he wants to do is have to engage 37 questions from somebody who doesn't know anything about solar when he doesn't know anything about solar. And so we're going to overcome that objection. We're going to overcome the objection of not liking the way solar looks. We're going to overcome the objection that they don't want to go into debt. Solar financing is not debt. Don't let anybody tell you they're going into debt. What they're doing by acquiring a solar system is acquiring equity. They're acquiring a very important, very valuable piece of capital equipment. They're using other people's money to finance it. They're going to experience an increase in equity, an increase in appreciation. They're going to increase a decrease in a loan balance through ownership instead of renting. And at the end of a 10 or 20 year period, they're going to end up hundreds of thousands of dollars ahead. That's how rich people get rich. They use other people's money to acquire assets that increase in value over time, and the money to pay for it is coming from somewhere else. Someone who goes solar, and this is what we're talking about the door, knock, knock, knock. Yeah, I know you're not interested in solar. I have no interest in your interest in solar. That's not what we're talking about. What are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that you are tied to a railroad track, and there is a freight train coming, and I am the guy with the knife. Now, I understand you're not in the market for knives, but if you're tied to a railroad track, and if you look to your left, you're going to see a railroad, you're going to see a freight train barreling at you. Are you now interested in the knife? Guess what? I think you are. And what is that? What is that freight train? That freight train is the inflation that people are experiencing, and the double, triple inflation that they're experiencing now and will experience with regard to fossil fuels. So if they're hooked up to the utility, they're primarily coal-based. That coal is going away by the end of the decade. The United States of America has made a commitment And that commitment is to reduce output of emissions in half by the end of the decade. Guys, that's like John F. Kennedy's moonshot. When he said, we're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade, people said, dude, you're freaking out. You're high. Like, what are you smoking over there, Mr. Kennedy? Because we don't even have an electronic calculator yet. We don't have the first, we're 30 years away from the first iPhone. How in the hell are we going to put a man on the moon? That makes zero sense. That's cartoon, science fiction. That's even pre-George Jetson, right? How are we going to get a man onto the moon? We have it's not going to happen. July 1st, 1961, we had a man on the moon. 1969, we had a man on the moon. That was that one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It happened. Guys, that's the value of a deadline, and that's how we sell solar, with deadlines. There's always a deadline on the utility, on the tax credit, on the financing. I'll tell you right now, if you leave a customer's house without paperwork, you've done that customer a disservice. They should have and could have and would have been way better off if a real closer had been in that house. Because if you think someone's going to be able to come back, even if it's not you, with 25-year financing at the same cost of that financing is today, you are so wrong. And if you haven't communicated that to the customer to create legitimate, appropriate amount of urgency, you are doing a disservice to that customer. There is no way this proposal is going to be good a week from now. And why is that? We got 25-year financing at 0.9, 1.99, whatever your financing deal is. The cost of that financing is not the same. The Fed raised the interest rates last Thursday, like 0.75. That was the fourth increase in 2 or 3 months. And the idea of the first three was to get inflation to start going the other way. And what happened? Fed increased rates, Fed increased rates, Fed increased rates. They read the tea leaves on July 1st, and inflation had gone up, not down. Guys, that's a 4-alarm fire. That's a total disaster. This is something that is going to burn families' finances to the ground if they're not able to fix it. What are we talking about? 10% inflation? Holy crap, that means they cannot retire with the money they have, because there's no way that it's going to be worth what they were hoping that it was worth when they retire. If they have young kids, the money they were hoping was going to put them to college is not going to buy college at the interest rates that we're experiencing right now. We're living in a completely weird, no one knows what to make of it world. The one damn thing they can do it anything about is they can lock in their energy costs. And how much more do they have to pay to lock that in so they don't have to worry about it doubling and tripling literally in the next handful of years? Anybody wonder how we're going to get people to have their emissions in the next 7 years? It's already begun. Gasoline costs twice as much. There's a lot less people buying Suburbans versus hybrids now. That's the government's plan, is to increase the cost of fossil fuels and cause us to get into a renewable fuel vehicle or home. We are going to experience the doubling and tripling of fossil fuels over the next handful of years. And you're sitting there with a family who has, how much is it going to cost to get me into a place where my family has locked down costs for financing? Lockdown costs for energy over the next 25, 30, 50 years. How much more is that going to cost me? What are you telling me at the door? It costs less. How much does solar cost? Less than I'm paying now? Come on, man, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? I don't believe you. You think you're at a door and people are saying, oh, I'm not interested in solar. They're not telling you they're not interested in solar. They're not listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth when you say, hey, listen, this solar thing's kind of the future. The government's decided we're having our emissions. We need to get you a proposal with numbers. This isn't about what you think about solar. It's about math. We need to get some damn math over here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to leave. I'm going to show you the back of my head. You see that bald spot? I'm going to show you that bald spot. I'm going to get the hell off your door. You know where I'm going? I'm going to go talk to an engineer. You know why I'm going to do that? Because he knows the math. We're going to find out what the math is for your house, and the math is going to decide if solar's awesome or you don't qualify. If you got a bad roof, if you're in the shade, if it's cut up in 20 different directions on a 2-story, 3-story house, we can only fit 9 solar panels. You're not going solar, right? The math's going to be horrible. But if you got the right roof and the right usage and we're facing the right way, then this math is going to show you how you are going to get off of this track with this freight train coming. And be end up $100,000, $200,000 richer because you implemented a strategy. What's your strategy now? You're literally tied.
Listen to a
You're literally
focus?
tied to a
No,
railroad track, and the cost of
solar
fossil
guy.
fuels is literally surging out of control. And your strategy is to see what happens. That does not sound like a good plan. Here's my plan. I'm going to leave. I'm going to get the hell off your doorstep. I'm going to talk to an engineer. I'm going to find out if this home is perfect or sucks for solar. If it sucks, you're never going to see me again. You're going to have a thumbs down emoji. You'll have the benefit you'll be able to tell every solar guy, whoever knocks on your home, knocks on your door. Yeah, I already had an engineer involved. This is the wrong house for solar. Sorry for me, but that's the case. But if the numbers are awesome, I'm going to have that engineer complete this design. We're going to Photoshop solar panels on your house. Then we're going to do the math for 1 year, 10 years, 25 years. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how you can spend not a single dollar, not one. I know you don't believe me. So I'm going to show you. You think I'm full of it, telling you're not going to spend any money to go solar. I'm telling you, I'm going to come back with the math and the guarantee from the government. What this design is going to show you is exactly how much money the government's going to put into this thing. This design is going to show you exactly how much the state incentives are going to be. This design is going to show you precisely how much less per month solar is going to cost you than what you're doing now in the first year. 0 down, positive cash flow the first month. How much is your profit in year 1? How much is your profit over 10 years, 20, 25 years? I'm telling you, it's going to be a high 5-figure or a 6-figure dollar amount. And that's without you spending $1. And that's by implementing a strategy for the money you're already spending. We're going to take this envelope that has money for the utility, and we're going to reach into that envelope and we're going to boom, grab out the money to pay for the solar. Instead of paying $250 a month, you're going to need like $176, and you're going to put that in the envelope to send that off for ownership, to own your own equipment on a price that never changes. Your problem, Mr. Customer, is there's going to be an extra $40 or $60 left over in this other envelope, $500 to $1,000 a year. We're going to need you to figure out what to do with that extra money. And oh, by the way, why don't we stick that into an interest-bearing account on municipal bonds or something that makes 5 or 6%? You want to multiply that $100,000? Why don't we take that delta between the utility and solar and invest that every single month at an interest rate that you can guarantee you can get every single day? And then let's see what that does to your wealth. I hear you. You're not interested in solar. I don't care. I'm not here because I think you are. In fact, I can tell you're not. If you had solar panels on your roof, I wouldn't be knocking on your door because I could tell you'd be interested. You're already interested in solar. You don't have solar. My question to you is, are you going to be able to sell this pig of an energy consuming house 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if you don't put solar on it now? If the price goes from $3,000 a year to $9,000 a year, will anybody buy this house? And can you put solar on it then? Who knows? So, guys, we've had some fantastic news. This is a phenomenal day to be in the solar business. We were almost perfectly sure that, and we were, Biden's Build Back Better bill, boom, went down in flames, not going to pass. Wow, now what's going to happen? This 26% tax credit's dropping. And then it's going to drop again. It's going to be 0 a year from New Year's Eve this year. It's going to 0. And guys, that is the deal right now. If you're on a door, be talking about the fact the tax credits are here now and they're 0 on New Year's Eve, a year from this New Year's Eve. There's 0. And if you want to ensure that you're getting a house with a solar system on it with the tax credit, you need to go solar now. By the way, the new news, which is it looks like we've cut a deal. Joe Manchin from West Virginia, that guy who's all mobbed up in coal money, somehow they cut a deal with that guy and they have shook hands on that deal. And that deal says they're going to vote and they're going to have a vote. And the vote looks like it'll be yes, that we're going to pass this new Inflation Reduction Act. And in that is an extension of the tax credits to 30%. In that is an extension of it of 10 more years, 10 years instead of where it is now, which is time is running out. This is the 11th hour, 59th minute on the original or the modified tax credit deal that we're working on now. Now, there's some good news. There's also a senator. It's my senator, Christine Sinema. I would recommend you send her a nice letter and letting her know you hope she supports the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. I'm doing that. I'm encouraging all my people to do that. This is the difference of life and death in terms of the horizon of profitability for solar in the near future. So I hope you do that. I think I'm a little over what Melissa and I talked about before we opened it up for questions, but there's just so much to say. I could literally just go on for another 2 hours. I know we don't have that kind of time. So I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to say, I'm going to open it up, see if anybody has any questions. I would love to address a question or two or three.
Awesome. I will go ahead and see who has a question there. Thanks again. And, you know, Michael just brought up a really good point about emailing his senator on this. And this is one of the reasons why we formed the Solar Consultant Network, is because, again, we're fighting against the corrupted politicians and the utility companies, and they got a lot of money. But do you know what we have? We have us. We have the voices. And the Solar Consultant Network is a way, again, for us to unite, get out there, educate each other, help each other elevate our sales. And then when it's an important moment in political history like this, we can unite together and get the word out there. So let's see, it looks like Barry, you have your hand up. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and ask.
I just did. Thank you so much. Great information, by the way. I loved it. Not to mention the passion. That was very good. My question is, how do you make sure that you're going to be able to have all the decision makers present at your one and only visit at that home?
So I'm going to, at the moment I make the appointment, let the homeowner know that we're going to need all decision makers in the home, which is normally both spouses. And so after they agree to the appointment, I've set the appointment. I'll say something like, Mary, would you do me a favor? Would you please let John know that I'm coming on Monday at 6 o'clock? That's the day after tomorrow. By the way, barring anything like an emergency, is there any reason Monday at 6 o'clock, is a problem for the two of you? No. Okay, do me a favor. Please tell him about the meeting. I don't want to surprise him. We need you both there. And then if I walk in the door and they're not both there, I am going to have to put a read on it on whether my time is more valuable at this moment to put this presentation on. I'm going to be here for, an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, and I'm going to end up with that person most likely saying to me, this is awesome. I'm doing this. There's no question. I just have to pass along all this information and see if I'm a, halfway decent salesperson and show all this to my spouse. I got news for you. This person is not a halfway decent solar salesperson. So you've most likely just wasted the time. If you are able to sign them up and get them into a close and they sign up today, the cancellation rate of a one leg is going to be, double or triple what it is if both spouses are there. So what I do most of the time, if I get it only one spouse is there, I will say, you know what, man, I'm so glad to hear that. I was a little embarrassed. We actually need a couple more pictures of your roof and electrical panel to actually get all the numbers tied down in this proposal. So I thought the proposal would be done by now. It's not done yet. We've got more work to do, which is true, by the way. My proposals always come to me just in time after I reach the home after a bit of time. So the proposal isn't done. And, I do need a picture, and I am going to reschedule the appointment for when the proposal's done. And what's a good time to do that to make sure you're both here? And a lot of times they're going to big time you. They're going to be like, oh, I make all these decisions. And oh no, I got no doubt. You are so big time, right? However, my company has a policy. When you sign up, and I'm pretty sure you're going to end up going solar down the road, if not both people understand all the dynamics, and it's not self-explanatory. I can't email you this proposal. Proposal has a lot of numbers in it, but it doesn't actually explain the dynamics of solar and how it creates this wealth and creates this savings and the dynamics between you and the utility and the government and the HOA. It's not self-explanatory. Without a consultant going over it, it's just, I'm not comfortable. We're not able to provide that, which is the same answer, by the way, when somebody says, can you just email me the proposal? The answer is no. So I'm not going to have my company prepare a proposal unless I've got an appointment with all of the decision makers. If I show up and I've only got one of the two decision makers, I'm going to say, oh, wow, that's fortuitous. I don't have the proposal done. And now let's just get the appointment rescheduled. I need a couple pictures. Can we go in the backyard? I'm going to repeat the door pitch. I'm going to repeat the highlight reel of why they decided to have this meeting in the first place. I'm going to take a couple pictures from the backyard or something. Then I'm going to excuse myself and I'm going to go be way more productive. I'm going to be way more productive knocking on their neighbors' doors, setting up appointments with both homeowners than I am pitching a one leg and finding out. And they're going to get to the end. They're going to go, yeah, I really got to talk to my spouse about this. You know what? If they're not jumping in the boat, 18% of solar presentations jump in the boat. In other words, solar sells itself. They look at it and they go, makes sense. What's next? Paperwork? Let's get some paperwork done. You're like, Oh, wow. Holy cow. Is somebody punking me right now? 18% of solar presentations, the people are kind of ready, don't need a lot of prodding to move forward. In the book, no matter what, you're going to learn how to get the rest of them that are sold, but they're not closed. How are you going to close these people so that 10 minutes after they said, are you going to email this to me? You're actually signing paperwork, doing paperwork, having a we're going solar party and taking selfies. How do you get from here to there? It's super easy if you know how to do it. And I was shown how to do this in 1983. I've been working on it all that time. I've sold 1,200 solar systems in the last 7 years doing exactly what I do, et cetera. So you're going to be able to do that. That's really the key. You're not, when there's two reasons why they're not moving forward: an objection, and I'll show you how to overcome every possible exception or objection there is to moving forward today with solar, or a condition. Guys, if they're both not here and they say they got to talk to their spouse, they probably do. Like, that's not an objection. That's actually a condition, and you need to anticipate that. Now, if the guy tells you his wife's in Rome and she's going to be there for the next, 6 weeks with all of her girlfriends running around spending money in Milan, and he has no other time for a presentation than this because he's managing multiple companies that he's the CEO of, I'm going to put a read on that guy and show him some numbers and say, sound good, let's go sign him up, and think he probably may have the authority to sign a $167 a month contract. But most people don't. Most people don't have the authority to do that without the other spouse there. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think it's usually a defense mechanism for a lot of homeowners. They purposely don't want to have the other spouse there, so they quote unquote can't make a decision on the spot, and
correct. That is a tactic. They'll hide one of them in the bedroom so that they aren't able to make a decision. What you're not aware of is that even if they're both there was a meeting that was held prior to the meeting you're in. And in that meeting, a conspiracy was hatched.
Right.
And the conspiracy went something like this. You remember that time we went to Aruba and saw that timeshare presentation? And we ended up with that $27,000 timeshare that we didn't want and have never used and are trying to get rid of. Yeah, we don't want that to happen again. So since then, they've instituted a policy. We have a policy that we don't make decisions on the first visit or the first, conversation that we have. We make sure that we're going to sign something. We're good at signing stuff, but we're never going to sign it on the day that says the same date as the calendar of today. We're going to sign this thing on a different day. And can you come back? I would love to come back. Unfortunately, I'm not able to come back. This is the only time, unless you become a customer, then you and I are going to be tied at the hip forever. And you got to know how to set this up. If you try to pull that rabbit out of the hat at the very last second, you needed to set that up like about 300 yards ago. Mm-hmm. And so when you arrive at the goalpost and it's first, it's first and goal and it's ready to go, you pull that out of your head. Oh, I can't come back. That's not going to work. You're going to piss them off. They're going to get upset. They're going to feel like it's some sort of sales tactic. If you back up and explain this to them in a way where they're going to totally get it, and then you get to that moment of truth and like, can you come back? And you're like, I would love to. I wish I could. My company has me doing this 3 or 4 of these a day. It's 7 days a week right now. Solar's so hot right now. I can't attend my daughter's dance recitals right now. There's no way in the world I could possibly even think of coming back. And if I could come back, there's no way in the world this proposal's any good, man. These numbers are changing by the hour. And that's true. That's honest.
That was great.
I don't want to monopolize all the time. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a
By the way, I think I'm in the middle of telling my Melissa story where the debt of gratitude came from, we met at the Solar Cheat Code. I go down like 9 rabbit holes all at once. And then the pandemic hit right after that. And I had no idea how to sell solar over Zoom. I had no idea how to sell solar remotely. She was the keynote speaker at the same event that I was at, telling people how to sell solar remotely. And she just for free and for fun told me everything, how to do it, met with my people on how to do it. And man, that made a difference. We sold more solar in 2020 during the pandemic than we did the year before when we were out in person at their kitchen table.
Yeah, I've always said there's just different kinds of people. Some people really, it's good for them to knock on doors. They're in an area that they can knock on doors.
Right. Yeah.
There are people like me that live in BFE. There are no doors to knock around here, and they probably the only problem is done anyway. So, you know, you got to learn how to sell online. But if you're in an area, you should be knocking. Those are free leads. People all the time are like, Melissa, where's a good lead source? Who should I buy leads from? And I'm like, where do you live? Oh, you live in Texas? Great free lead source. Go out your front door and start knocking. So let's take one more question. Les Lovett, can you go ahead and do you want to come off mute and go ahead and ask your question for Michael? Thanks. Les, you might be muted on your end. Let me go ahead and see if I can unmute you. All right, Les, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Maud, this is Les Lovett. First and foremost, I will say that he personally has made me a bunch of money. And the one of the tidbits that he kind of gave was the fact that when you leave a door, you don't just leave the door. You want to make sure you get a note. And I hope he talks about that or takes a second to talk about that, because that's the difference between being okay and great. And so the book is phenomenal. His energy is like this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you like the book, you better go join up to the class, because he has the mod training, and that's, as a great Jimmy Walker would say, it's dynamite. And so, but very, very thankful for what I've learned through him over a period of time. But you got to give him that nugget, Mr. McDonald, about or O'Donnell, about telling them about getting the note.
Yeah. So the real turning point for me, and what enabled me to go from pretty good at sales to having a track record that someone would say, you know, you might think about writing a book, was me understanding that I wasn't getting paid. I was not getting paid for people saying, yes, the solar sells itself. 18% of the people I show this to are going to kind of sign up. How do I get that to 80%? That was really the issue. But not being afraid of the word no is where all of the money comes from. I was actually going to name this book Get One No, right? And so I'm a big believer in momentum, getting from 0 to 1 every day. And as he was just talking about, and thank you so much for talking about some of the things that I do. But I have a call that has this conversation. He's right. This is going on. Someone said, where do you come up with this stuff? I go, this stuff's going on in my head 24 hours a day. It's just a relief to have somebody to share it with. I wake up in the middle of the night, having to just kind of get some of this going and down. But I have a call that goes on every single solitary morning from 8 to 8:30. It's 30 minutes. It's crisp. It's in, it's out. It's the MOD Sales Academy live calls. It's inspiration. It's really about accountability and support. What job needs a support group? Let me tell you what, knocking on doors needs a support group. Like, you're going to land on your ass so many times in a week. If you don't have somebody to kind of help you get back up and let's go, you're going to eventually find yourselves in the weeds. But what brings us down is the word no. And I tell this to people that I'm recruiting. I like, everybody says, who wants to make $1 million a year? I do. Okay. Well, what if you had to, it's not for everybody. Let me tell you, if you go to a dance and ask 30 people to dance and 28 of them say, no, you're ugly. Like, boom, that's going to be like, oh my God. Oh my, 28 people. And if you look back on that, that's going to be a devastating, epically negative, feelings hurt type of conversation. And then that's what I think about when I think about going to knock on doors. That literally I want to throw up in the bushes, right? And instead I use these little hacks and these tricks to get me onto the door to get one no. If you get one no every single day after, and for me, what I do, my mini habit, my no matter what commitment is, I'm in 2 or 3 presentations a day, right? So I have a no matter what commitment that I'm going to keep my bag on my shoulder when I'm walking down the driveway. I'm not going back to my truck and putting my bag in the truck. Why? Because once I open the car door to the truck, I'm probably getting in the son of a bitch. And so I'm not allowed back to my truck. I go with my bag on my shoulder, down one driveway and up the next door. I'm literally waving goodbye and I'm walking up the neighbor's driveway to hand them a car to get one no. That policy, that's a policy. It's a no matter what, no questions asked. There's no exceptions. If it's 9:30 at night, I'm going to do it. At 9:30 at night, I'm going to look for the guy walking the dog and be like, dude, do you live in this neighborhood? Do you own a home here? Yeah. Hey, can I give you a card? And may I ask you if I can get you a free solar quote? No. God bless you. Now I get to go home. I got my no. So if you back that up a step and realize all of the money in solar is for this word no. We're not getting paid for the yeses. The yeses happen, da, 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 da. What the money's for is for the work. And the work is for getting up and over the resistance to the rejection and the no. The money is for doing the work. If you can get yourself to do the work, man, for me, I mean, so I have about 6 or 7 conversations is all it takes for me to get one appointment. If you're new, it's probably going to be more like 15. Or if you don't particularly have a knack for that particular skill. Like if you were to go to 50 doors and go knock, 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 hey, there's no chance you want a free solar quote. Have you heard what's going on in the world with, this climate change thing? We just like to get your free quote. Would you like one? If that was your whole pitch, you'd get probably 48 no's and you get 1 or 2 yeses. Guys, that's enough to make an obscene amount of money in solar. And so the money and the work is really for the no's. In my case, I'm knocking on 7 doors. I get 1 appointment. I'm closing at 80%. Guys, I'm getting about $500 to $700 every single time somebody tells me no. Dude, if we were in the truck and there was a guy wrenching on his, truck in the garage, and I said, hey, any chance you can hop out, get that guy to say no, and hop back in the truck, and I'll give you like $500. You'd be like, dude, I'm all over that. I'm over it right now. Okay, well, that's the case, but your mind doesn't perceive that. And so the no matter what call that we're having every day is helping us to perceive that, helping us to perceive that there's not going to be another meeting, helping us to perceive that we got to go from 0 to 1 on momentum. And you can find that call and stuff. All that stuff's available at modsalesacademy.com. It's super cheap. It's not about money. It's just this ridiculous amount of money to do it. But you can be on that call every day. It's a mastermind. It's similar to this, and except it's every single day, 30 minutes. You don't have to be on it every day, but you can be on it several times a week, whatever you want to do. But getting from 0 to 1 in momentum is the ball game.
That's awesome. I know what call I'm going to be signing up for. So
there you go.
anytime we as entrepreneurs can learn more, we need to go for it, and I applaud all of you for being on here today. And Michael, it's just been a pleasure to have you as a guest with the Solar Consultant Network. I'm going to just quickly let all of you know that.
Hey, Melissa, real quick.
Mhm.
For everyone's knowledge, I put the contact of Christine Cinema in the text. That's if you click on that link, you'll go to her page and you're able to leave her an email. Tell her you support the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. That's super important. And if you're wanting to find out or on social media, it's actually Michael O'Donnell Sales, not michaelodonnellsales.com. It's my social media is Michael O'Donnell Sales. And then the other stuff is modsalesacademy.com. Thanks, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. And I do see that a lot of you still have questions, but we do need to honor everyone's time. But the part of the Solar Consultant Network Facebook group, this is where you can ask your question and tag Michael in it, and then I assure you, if you have a question, one of the other 500 plus members might have that same question. So use that group to get your questions answered by really some of the best in the industry. So thank you again.
You can also DM me, and I'd be happy to answer any of your other questions at Michael O'Donnell Sales. That's my Facebook Instagram. DM me with a question. I'd be happy to answer it.
Perfect. And then the final note I want to leave everybody on is I want to let you know next week's guest speaker for the Monday Forum will be Bill Murphy. So come in, and I love that you
my favorite guys.
We all met down in the Keys together, so you might
yes.
be getting to see a lot of some amazing
on that private island.
Yes. Okay, everybody, have an amazing, awesome week. We'll see you guys next Monday with Bill Murphy. Thank you again, Michael.
Can't wait. I'll see you next Monday.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.